relatively large warmings that occur every 3 to 7 years with sometimes catastrophic impacts on marine productivity, suppressed, and the Peruvian coastal desert, epic flooding. 3. The active ocean component of a vast Pacific basin-wide oscillation in air mass and ocean temperature known as the El Niño Southern Oscillation, ENSO. 4. The warm phase of ENSO. The cold phase is known as La Niña. And 5. A metonym for ENSO itself. In this book, El Niño will usually, but alas not always, refer to 4, the ENSO warm extreme, which is associated with drought in much of the monsoon tropics and northern China. ENSO, a clunky acronym, is the name of the great white whale, the secret of the monsoons itself. Part 3 tells its story. Drought. Drought is the recurrent duel between natural rainfall variability and agriculture's hydraulic defenses. It always has a man-made dimension and is never simply a natural disaster. Any drought with a significant agricultural impact is the product of two processes operating at different temporalities. Meteorological drought is usually defined by the percentage shortfall in annual mean precipitation for a given locality or region. The definitions vary from country to country and in relationship to socially defined normal conditions. The present-day India Meteorological Department, for example, defines a 60% or greater deficiency in local mean rainfall as severe drought, roughly equivalent to monsoon failure. Yet what is critical from an agricultural standpoint is less the total amount of rainfall than its distribution relative to annual cycles. A well-distributed but subnormal rainfall may do little damage to crop yield, particularly in areas like the Indian Deccan or North China, where peasants cultivate millet and other drought-resistant crops, while a normal rainfall concentrated in the wrong months can lead to considerable crop loss. Historically, agricultural societies in areas of high rainfall variability were usually well adapted to cope with severe single-year rain deficits. Most, however, required massive inter-regional aid to survive 2 monsoon failures in a row. The impact of deficient rainfall on food production, moreover, depends on how much stored water is available, whether it can be distributed to plots in a timely fashion, and, where water is a commodity, whether cultivators can afford to purchase it. Hydrological drought occurs when both natural, streams, lakes, and aquifers, and artificial, reservoirs, wells, and canals, water storage systems, lack accessible supplies to save crops. It should be remembered, of course, that local water supply is often independent of local climate. The most advantageous situation occurs in regions like the Indo-Gangetic Plain of northern India, where snow-fed rivers whose watersheds largely lie outside the drought zone can be tapped for irrigation. Hydrological drought always has a social history. Artificial irrigation systems obviously depend upon sustained levels of social investment and labor upkeep, but even natural water storage capacity can be dramatically affected by human practices that lead to deforestation and soil erosion. As we shall find out, the most devastating 19th century droughts were decisively preconditioned by landscape degradation, the neglect of traditional irrigation systems, the demobilization of communal labor, and/or the failure of the state to invest in water storage. This is why I agree with Rolando Garcia's assertion in Nature Pleads Not Guilty, a landmark study of the early 1970s Sahelian crisis, that climatic facts are not facts in themselves. They assume importance only in relation to the restructuring of the environment within different systems of production. Garcia, after quoting Marx on the historical specificity of the natural conditions of production, poses a question that will be fundamental to discussion in this book. To what degree did the colonial transformation of the system of production change the way in which climatic factors could exert their influence? Famine. Causality. Whether or not crop failure leads to starvation, and who, in the event of famine, starves, depends on a host of nonlinear social factors. Simple FAD, food availability decline,